Hello Norrathians, this is Vass, and today I am going to attempt my very first live stream. I am going to be working in the Neriak portion of the Six Flags over Norrath. I have not completely figured everything out, but I've got my chat window here, so I can Alt-Tab and pull it up. Might be able to switch it over to my phone or hook up a second monitor. So I am recording as well as streaming. I do have that option with OBS. I can record and stream at the same time. So I've got that going as well. I think everything is set up for me to live stream. Just want to double check. And I know that there's going to be at least one person joining me on the live stream to verify that everything works. So I'm just going to make sure that they get in first. I might actually edit this out of the recorded video of it and just have it in the live stream. Let's see if I can make this a little smaller. Yes, I can see you, Luna. Thank you for helping me out today. Okay. So, Luna, do you know if Kian is going to be able to join? Because she is really going to kick herself in the butt if she doesn't get a sneak peek at Freeport. Okay, so I've got the entrance here. It is Six Flags over Norrath, so of course we're high above Norrath. So the way you get to the park is by the dirigible. So I've got the landing dock, I've got the ticket booth here, and these are the Six Flags, which represent each of the starter cities of Norrath. So whenever you create a character, you can start in Gorowin, Neriak, Freeport, Kinos, Kellyton, and New Hollis. So I've got all 6 cities represented for the park. I have the ticket booth here, and I have a person on each side of the ticket booth. And whenever you first go in, I did turn my graphics down a little bit because my Sayrex had told me that I might be having crashes because of trying to render so much at one time. So I've turned it down, so hopefully I won't have crashes. But the very first thing that you see is the Lion's Mane Carousel. And then we have popcorn stall here. Big Top Pop is what I've called it. And we have the 3-ring circus. And all of Kinos is marked off with this type of pathing around it. And it is the central first area that you come to. There's Kian. Okay, so we've got the Temple of Life Gravitron. Right here on the sign, you can see that this is the Temple of Life Gravitron. Now, some of the signs that I use actually have the magic mouth. So those, unfortunately, you will not see in the video. But I have a balloon stall here, and I've added a couple of house actors at the end right here. The mom and the little boy. She made the mistake of tying the balloon to his belt, and now he's being lifted away. So I also have the Kinos Aqueducts log flume, which you've seen in one of my very first videos, or earlier videos. And of course the hat stall, which it does tend to disappear with rendering. I don't like that, but it kind of gives it the simulation that it's lighting up as you're approaching it. But I do love how the hat turned out. I would have loved to have been able to take the hat and tilt it and actually had it on the corner of the building. But it was something that I would have done by hand, and it would have taken a lot of time because I'd have to pitch and roll each thing. I wouldn't have been able to use the layout editor. The layout editor, whenever you pitch the whole thing, it pitches the items and they all end up skewed. It lets you build directly sideways or against the wall or directly on the floor, but at an angle it doesn't work properly. So in here you can get souvenir hats. I'm just going to do a quick run through. I'm not going to show everything. And the Gravitron is actually enterable, so you can role play. That's the whole purpose of the park, is I wanted people to actually come in and do a little role playing. Got the map of the park here. And the restrooms are right here. Six Flags Over Norrath restrooms. And throughout the park there's going to be books, and if you actually click the books to read them, some of them will have messages. Not all of them, but some of them will. And it says, reminder, we are on an island in the sky. You should use the restroom in your hall, not the one way above Norrath. And then I have the Keno's Candy Floss, which is also known as cotton candy here in the South. And it goes all the way around. Behind the carousel are the fireworks launchers, so you could always do fireworks if you wanted to. The row candle is the only one that continually goes even when you're not in the park. And excuse me just a second. Okay, sorry about that. My allergies are acting up today, so if I sound a little different, that is why. Okay, so the actual next part of the park that I worked on was New Hollis. So I have changed up the pathing for New Hollis just to give it a little bit of a separation from Keno's. Lots of different things. If you haven't seen my videos, you can check them out of the different portions of the park that I built. The mining coaster, which I still absolutely love this. It was the very first coaster actually built. And it's got all the house actors in here now and so on. The only thing that I believe I have left to do on this park is to actually go in and do Soga models on all the house actors. Because I only have one character that I play with Soga model, and the rest of them I do not play with the Soga models, so I don't usually set house actors up in Soga, but I wanted to make sure I did that. Especially since I know there's some people that only play Soga. Okay, so then we have the ice cream shop. I love the little ice cream on the top there. And we have the Halasian spice rubbed ham. Got a little ham up on the top to indicate. So you can get a plate of ham. He's got it right here. He's got his plates. He'll just cut you a slice and you're good to go. Now if I had more item count, I would have added on to this. Had basically a barbecue station at the back. And now you see what I mean by the buffering. Yeah, it can be bad, but Twitch for me is so much worse than the YouTube one. The YouTube wasn't bad at all. It didn't start buffering until the very end of the video, and then it was probably because I was trying to upload a video at the same time. But down at the end is the New Hollis Barrel O' Brew. It's a bar house. So I've got some house actors in here, and you can actually get your souvenir mugs here. And it's 100 plat, and you get free ale for 10 minutes. I can't give it to you the whole time you're in the park, or you'd be kicked out of the park. I'm gonna go up to the top, but this is the Brew Barrel Escape. And it actually goes right over the top of the Brew Barrel bar. I won't run the track on this one, but you can. I've got house actors on here. And I'll go up into the air so you can get a bird's eye view. The Big and Furry had stolen the brew from the Brew Barrel bar, so that is the theme of this ride, is you have to get the beer, get to the beer, get it, and get back down to the station, or they're going to run out of beer in the park. That's not a good thing with all these doors. Okay, so that is the New Hollis section. I still love this path. I think it turned out really good. Okay, so the next section that I did was Gorwin, and I have changed up the placement of some of the rides in the park in case you aren't caught up on some of the videos. I have the Cheeky Tiki, and it's Volridge drumsticks. So basically your turkey legs, you can get those here. Got a little turkey leg up at the top to represent. And if you don't play Roller Coaster Tycoon, and in case you don't play Planet Coaster, there's actually a Tiki Cheeky, which is basically a restaurant in the park that you can build, that has a character that roams around. He wears the I can't think of it, the voodoo type mask over his face, and he has the grass skirt on, that kind of thing. Okay, so we've got, well, let's go to this side real quick. We have our Gorwin loop here. It does have a message that'll pop up on your screen. Unfortunately, you won't see it from mine. So this is the Gorwin loop ride. Got a couple house actors in there getting ready to go. And this is the sushi restaurant, Sushi and Grill, and you just barely missed it, but I added the little fish bowl to the basket of fish there, so one of them is trying to get away. There he goes. So he is the chef. He'll prepare the meals for you, and it has some good views out the windows of the park. Not a good view of Freeport. All you see is a wall, but you'll see more very soon. Sorry, I just want to keep up with the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. So this is the restaurant, the sushi restaurant. Tried to give it an oriental look. The City of Mist, I think, did a good job of that, and I've got the reds and the greens and the gold and all the lanterns that you see inside Gorwin. So I thought it tied in very well with Gorwin. And over on this side, if you come down the path, you've got the High Seas, which is a rocking ship. There's a couple house actors aboard the ship, by the way. But it's one of the inverter ships, the ones that swing back and forth. It doesn't fully invert, but if you want, you can pretend. And then the very last ride for Gorwin is the Temple Ruins River Adventure. I changed this one up a little bit at the end because the station that I had built around this took away from the scene of the temple behind it. So I made that a little bit more open. And there's some actual chairs that you can sit in to pretend that you're riding the ride. And it's got a lot of little details in here. You can actually go into the temple. And there's a cobra over there, a little statue. Do not take the gold. The cobra guards the gold. And a siren to tempt you. And it looks like these adventurers found the raptor. Not good, because they're not there anymore. And with shadows on, I love the way this turned out. The crocodile, actually, his reflection looks like his mouth is there in the water, so it looks like he's opening his mouth and going to get you. And then back to the station. Uh-oh. Gonna drown in my own park. Whack-a-mole. I have not made a whack-a-mole. It's a good idea, but I have not made a whack-a-mole. Thank you, Luna. I like the path too. It turned out really well. And the stone path from the chalk blocks, I think, went very well for the Gorwin area too. And out in Timor's Deep, the starter island, there is actually a ziggurat, a ruins area that has skeletons and stuff like that around it. So I tried to make everything fit. So the very next section of the park, which I'm going to have to let it load, I see it disappearing in the background back there. This park is completely maxed. Completely maxed. I could probably put in a few more books, but that's about it. And that's maybe 10 books. 10, 12, something like that. Okay, so we've got Kellethan here. And I went with a more woodsy path for Kellethan. You have the little tables that you can sit at and have your food. Little cupcakes shop. And this is Cupcakes Honey Cream Cupcakes. And yes, it does have yellow. Lots and lots of yellow. But it's good yellow. It's Kellethan. And then I have the Kellethan Buttercups here. Crash Bandicoot. Oops, not the mushroom ring. The Kellethan Buttercups is here. So this one you just sit in and you can spin yourself around as you're rotating around the ride. And the sign at the entrance here, I have to examine it actually, not examine. Message, there we go, because this one is a magic mouth and my magic mouth option is not available for some reason, but it tells you that the teacups are that way, the flower wheels are forward, and the honey mixer is to the right. So this is the flower wheel, and it took me a lot to get it to this stage, and I'm very happy with it at the end. There's one of those new Tinkerfest items right there in the center on both sides, and I love how it lights up and it changes as it's moving through. And this is the Kellethan flower wheel. We've got a couple of house actors here. And the actual rides are in place with baskets and baubles and flowers. So it's very fitting. This one right here actually has little fairy dust that's coming down. And I made sure that all of them would be able to clear the central post. So they actually can rotate completely around. Of course, you have to use your imagination. And the very next one is the honey mixer. And this is kind of like, I believe it's called the scrambler. But all these portions at the bottom will lift up on the left and the right, and you're spinning in the middle there as it spins around the track here. So, and it's got a little honeycomb or a beehive in the middle, and I've got the fireflies all around it to represent the little bees. And then you can actually go up under the roots of the tree here and up under the ride. And right back here is Ivy Bloomfield's face and wing painting. A couple of little house actors here, but you can come here to get face painting and wing painting. And then the last ride for Kellethan is the Vine Rider, which I'm not sure if this episode has been put up yet. But it has supports coming out from the trees that help hold the vine in place. And these are the cars that actually go around the track. And you can actually run this track. You do have to be careful in some spots where the supports are. But you can actually run the track. Of course, you should be hanging from it, but still you get the idea. And I made it look like a vine hanging in the trees. And I've got some leaves on the vine that gave it that little extra theming it needed. And I liked how this one turned out. It turned out just how I wanted it to. But this is the very first hanging coaster. There will be more. And I had to make sure that one of the rides would actually clear this section, and it does. So I put a lot of thought into it. It wasn't just building it. I wanted to make sure that everything could actually work. And it does. So, the very next section, we've seen Kinos, we've seen Gorwin, we've seen Kellethan, we've seen New Hollis. The only two portions of the park that are left are Freeport and Neriak. And we're going to actually go into Neriak in the end. So Freeport is coming up. So these are not uploaded. So there is a bit of a spoiler. If you don't want to look, then go get a cup of coffee or something, cup of tea, and then come back. But here is the pathing for Freeport, and I wanted to use this path, which is the faceless, and I was trying to find something to line the path, and I was thinking bones and stuff, but it wasn't going to work. And I was trying different books, and it was actually Azurite that came across this book and suggested it. And the coloring and the little spikes on it, it just fit perfectly. So thank you, Azurite. I've said it before, I'll say it again. That was a great idea. I wanted to have a little separation between the New Hollis and the Freeport section, so I put up the iron spiked fences that tie in with the fencing that's in Freeport. And then this is our first stall, which is One Good Apple. And it says, "One good apple spoils the bunch" by Gramps DeLear. And the house actor does have a cute little comment, so you will have to come see that for yourself. So that is the tallest ride in the park. And with full graphics on, you can actually see it from the entrance. With the rendering distance, you would actually be able to see that ride from the entrance of the park. But these benches are the Freeport benches. They tie in with the books and the stone pathing very well. Even the trim on the barrels that I'm using for trash cans tie in very well. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, so this one didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it to. However, I think it's still nice the way it is. Basically, this is a drop ride. These cages wind up into the top of the ride, and then it drops you down. And originally I was going to have lava right here, and I was going to have one of the cages sunk into the lava with a skeleton in it, of course. A little bit morbid, but you know, it is Freeport, so. But I could not find anything that would work to cover up that large space, and shrinking all this down would make it so hard to, because the path would be so tiny, Vass wouldn't even be able to go through it. So it wasn't working out to my favor. I could have used the square lava tiles, but then I would have had to put something around the outside to cover up the corners of the tiles. Because this does not actually, it looks like it bows up, but it isn't. It's actually flat. It's got the illusion because of the dark shadowing that it's rounded, but it is not. And I tried putting square lava tiles down, and if you sink it, it sinks the whole tile. So I would have had to use extra items to cover around it. So it wasn't going to work out. But in the end, you can actually go inside the cages. So you can use your imagination and pretend that you are on the ride. And of course, this one's got a little house actor in it. You would have to visit the park to see what all the house actors are saying. And so that's the entrance, and the other sides I have gated off. That's only for maintenance. And then the exit is over here. We're going to go back a little bit. The lava actually caught the trees on fire, so their theming is a little bad. One burned to a stump and is still smoking. But it's Freeport. And this poor Faye, or RSI, she's getting soaked by that little halfling up there, that little halfling brat. I am still looking for the pillager's booty, because I want it to go right here. It would be the perfect addition to this park. I could pick up the anchor and put it right there. So that is the last piece I'm looking for. And this ride is a kiddie ride. It is the Dread Never Recruits. And this is just a simple little pirate ship ride. The kids get on it. It goes around in a circle, and there's little water cannons on the front of them, so they can shoot each other, or they can shoot people that are walking down the path. And of course that little brat decided to soak the poor little Faye over there. But I built this one towards the beginning of the park, and I held it till the end because I knew I wanted to do it, and I thought it was just too cute. So I kept it out behind the front wall, and I had one of the ships in place but not everything in place, and then I brought it in and finished it off. So that is going to be in one of the videos. And then down here on the left, we have the court and commissary. This is basically, if you don't know what medieval times is, it's a medieval themed restaurant that you sit down and you watch a jousting show, sword fighting, stuff like that, and have a meal. It's a restaurant that you actually are entertained while you have a meal. So that is pretty much what I'm doing here. It ties in with Freeport, with the arena and that kind of thing. It's right at the entrance when you come in from the common lands. And I've got all these seats over here. There's only a couple of house actors. And she's pretty mad that the Black Knight lost. I'll give you a little heads up on her conversation. She lost all of her money because of him. Shouldn't have gambled. This one's excited though, and they've got their little food plates there. So up here, Lucan de Lear has his own little place to visit, to sit and watch the park, or the show. And then we've got the White Knight, and we've got the Black Knight. And this one I had wanted to do since the beginning, and again, it's one of those that I just saved it to the end of the park. I kept wanting to build it and kept wanting to build it. And it was a lot of fun building this one because I used the layout editor. I built this section here, and then rotated it around and moved it back so I could build this side. So that is the court and commissary. And the very last ride is here. And in the US it's normally called bumper cars. Or you can call them Dodgems. But I had this idea in mind. I wanted to do it. I thought these right here are chandeliers. All the candle parts stuck in the ground, but it's got this little hook at the top. So it's like a pole with the little hook that scrapes along the top, and that's where you're getting your static. But yep, they're on little bumper cars out here. I left 2 of them empty, so if you wanted to get on them and theme, do some role playing, you could. The only thing is these are illusion, so you walk right through them. But if you fly, you can jump up a little bit and you'll be good. But again, it's for a little bit of role playing. So that is the end of Freeport. I'll have the videos posted showing you how I did it all. And I am going to go to the Neriak portion of the park. So Neriak, the portion of Neriak is actually built into this cave system here. You have a big huge dragon guarding Freeport, and I used this right here for the pathing to go into the cave, and this is the way to the Neriak section of Six Flags Over Norrath. So we are going to zone in here, and then we're going to take a quick break, and we will come back and we will start working on actually building in the Neriak Palace. It's not very often that you see me zone. I try to do everything and prepare everything ahead of time and have it in the house ready to use. So I don't have to zone, you don't have to sit here and watch a zoning screen, and I don't risk the chance of crashing. Okay, so right now this place has got a lot of stuff in it. I have been prepping, I have been putting things in here that I know I will be using, and I am so excited. I've got so many ideas. The last count that I had 12 different rides that are going to go into Neriak. And there are going to be 2 main attractions. One of those will be the actual palace itself. It's probably going to be the last thing I build for Neriak. And the reason behind that is I know this part of the park is going to take a long time to build, because of the fact that I'm starting a new house, basically. And this portion of the build is going to be a haunted palace. Kind of a play off of a haunted mansion, but the entire palace is going to be a haunted palace. There's going to be, I'm going to have sections of it marked off to where you can only go a certain path through this whole entire palace. You'll be going through the outside all the way around. There's going to be different scenes out here, all kinds of different things. Just a heads up, I do have some scare elements in here, like the spiders. And there's going to be the scarecrow. So there's going to be zombies jumping out. I mean, I can't resist. It's a horror-based ride. It's gotta have it. The spiders still creep me out. But whenever you first come in, there's going to be a little waiting area here. And the only option you'll be able to take is out this way. And you'll come around. Whenever you come in, you'll be only able to go along the bricks here. Not the purple rug, but the bricks. Which will force you to go up in here. Okay? You will not be able to go forward. You will only be able to go in here. Okay? And it's going to lead you through and back so you can see what's all going to be in here. And then you'll be able to go up this side to the next section. You'll be able to see everything in, and then it'll force you to go up one side, and same thing all the way up through it. And there's going to be different scenes, different theming for each different floor. And then when you get to the top, there'll be another section of theming here. The only way to get out will be going down this way. And the same thing. I might have it walled off in the middle to where whenever you come up, you are seeing only this half. And whenever you're going down, you only see this half. I'm still working on those little details. But it's going to have some one-way tapestries and stuff like that. Because whenever you get down to the bottom section, you're going to be able to come back this way. But I don't want you going back down the way you came. You would go down this way. And then whenever you get down here, you're going to have the path that'll come back. And there's going to be a wall across here for the little entry area. And then you'll be able to go this way, and you'll have your choice of either going straight out or going down the purple carpet to the end here. So, and I might change it up to where whenever you come in, the waiting area is this room. And then from here, you can only go one way. Maybe from here, you can only go this way and then start off. I might do it that way. Again, I'm still working out the details. I gotta see how it works. But that is going to be one of the main attractions of the two. Very scary. Now it might have went offline whenever I was zoning. So the second main attraction is actually going to be down in the bottom here. And I am going to put my floaty cloak on just for safety reasons. But the second main attraction is going to be in the bottom here, and I've got these white marble tiles down here to indicate the low, well, I thought they would indicate the lowest section I could go to before being forced to zone. And I tried it like 20 times and it didn't zone me. But anyway, the bottom down there, I'm going to have to raise it up a little bit. So I can't go quite as far as I wanted to. But I'll raise those up. And those are just a mapper, basically, of an indication of how far down I can go. And all around the castle, all around the palace in the center, there is going to be a massive go-kart track. You're going to go up and down hills, do turns and S-curves and all kinds of theming, spooky themes, forest themes, spikes, all kinds of stuff. And it's going to be a massive go-kart track. So that and the haunted house are going to be the main attractions. Actually, I might not wait for the end for those because of the fact that they're going to be the main attractions. They're going to use most of the item and building block count. So I might have to do those earlier. But in the actual house itself, as you see, I've got some house actors here, the ghostly and shadow. They're planned to be used. I've got this area opened here. I'm going to have a drop ride there. But in the house, in the zone of Neriak, there's actually houses over here. And that's where this gray stone is. So this stone works perfectly for me to be able to put a ride. So I can use this as a guide of where to build a ride. Oh, and there's more spiders. And same thing here. You'll probably hear me creep out a lot in the live streams and videos of building this house because I don't have the zombie in here yet. But the zombie is going to freak me out, and the spiders are going to freak me out. But there's going to be a couple of different rides. Couple of rides over here where these squares are. There's going to be a little entertainment section back here. And then over on this side, if I can go around without falling off. And see, this was the perfect place for me to build Neriak, because I could not get this dark, mysterious vibe in Neriak in the Tenebrous Tangle house. So this is like perfect. I wouldn't have been able to build a go-kart track like that. I wouldn't have had the bats. I wouldn't have had the ghosts flying around. I wouldn't have had the cave. So it just made sense to build this portion of the park in a separate house. But here I'm going to have another ride. And this is going to be the swing ride. And I'll probably have another one here. And another one over here. And I'm planning to have one little bit of a breakout area. which let me see if I can get up there now, because I did move some things around. Let me move this down. This is just scaffolding. But you can't walk over. It has an invisible wall there. But I was going to do a breakout over on this side with a haunted hay bale ride. And that's what I've got the cart for and so on. There's going to be witches and zombies inside this park. There's going to be spiders and snakes and rats and all kinds of scary things in this park. As you see, I've already got some rats and spiders and stuff in here. Spider eggs. And there goes those spiders again. And I got some my creepy trees, the eyeball trees, and the dead trees. And I'm thinking it is a good time to take a quick break, and then I will go over the ride list of what I have planned, and some of the shops. So I will be right back. Okay, I am back. Sorry about that. I went and got me a fresh cup of coffee. So I am ready to go. So my plans. Let me check chat real quick, see what you were saying about me while I was gone. Dodgems. Okay, so how much of a delay? Is I am back from my break. I've got my journal in front of me. And I've got the list of different rides that I'm gonna make. So oh, that's not bad. 2-minute delay. It's better than the 10-minute delay that I was experiencing before with Twitch. Okay, so for the rides that I have planned for Neriak, I've already gone over 2 of them, which is the Haunted Palace and the Neriak Racers, which is the go-karts. The other rides I touched on the pumpkin hayride, which is going to require a teleport pad, which I will probably start the hayride over in this section here and kind of have like a tunnel here and here. So you get in the ride and it looks like you're going through the tunnel and coming out on the other side of the wall, and on the way back you come through the tunnel here to get off the ride. And basically the teleporter will go from here to the other side of the wall where you go through the wall and come out. And that's going to be the pumpkin hayride. It's going to have a spooky forest in it. It's going to have a pumpkin patch and scarecrows and stuff like that. So that's what that ride's going to be. I'm going to have a ride called Slither, which is basically going to use this item here, which I have never used before. I've made it, but I don't think I've used it before. The Draconic Bone Altar, but it is going to be basically a ride that goes around. There's going to be a bar that comes off, and you sit in a cart. You start at the bottom, it works its way up and then works its way back down, and you're going around in a circle the whole time, basically spiraling up and then spiraling down. So that's what that ride's going to be. And it's going to be very snake themed, if you didn't guess. Let's see, the next ride, I actually came up with the idea while watching Luna's stream. So she's already got kind of a heads up of my idea for it. But the ride is going to be called Rat Race, and you've got these rats here, and they're going to have little chariots, basically, that you are going to be able to sit in and ride behind them. And it's going to be, there's going to be a path with separate walls up, and the rats are running through the track like a maze to get to the cheese at the end, and it's a rat race. So that's what that one's going to be. I think it'll be a cute one. Could be a kiddie ride. Doesn't have to be an adult ride, but it could be a cute little kiddie ride. I don't think it's going to take up a whole lot of space, but in actuality, I can't fly in here. I've got all this area out here that I could build over. So kind of like I did with the stones over here, I could build over that area, but maybe use building blocks instead of the stones so I don't waste the item count. I can use the building blocks to make kind of a flattish area to build the race on, and I could build other rides and stuff like that. And there's going to be, it already has some pathing in here. The main street pathing here that takes you to the main attraction, and then it's going to have a path that'll come out to the side. It'll take you over to these attractions, and it can continue around. If I don't fall off because I don't have the path in right now, actually it's better to go the other way, but I'm going to extend the side of this walkway. Oof, almost lost it. Okay. So back here, I've already got this ramp. You can build all the way out over. So in actuality, I can build things over this ravine. So one of the actual attractions of the park is going to be a hanging bar, and it's going to be a Bloody Mary bar. So for all those vampires that need their blood. So there's going to be a hanging Bloody Mary bar. It'll have a pathway up to it. And then some of the other rides could either be suspended, or I could extend the ground area coming off of the area over there to where you can actually have a path coming along and have more things on the outside wall of this area. Still have the trench going around it, but have things that are built on land sticking off of the wall on the sides. That I think would be fun. So that covers the Bloody Mary bar and the rat race. We are also going to have the swing, which is going to be over on this side. And I might not take up the whole thing. I might have another ride back here or two. But the swing is actually probably better to build it over the edge, because I wanted the swing to swing from the top and swing you over the edge and back. So I think that would be cool, and I have some ideas for the actual swing. It's not going to be the swings that go around in a circle, but it's going to be a kind of, think along the lines of a guillotine, a pendulum, those kind of things, where it swings back and forth and it swings you over the edge. Let's see. Another kiddie ride is going to be spider themed. I have some ideas for the legs of the ride of the spider, maybe using these things here, which are the orbs of death. If I can link them together to where it looks good, I might use those and have those as the arms or the legs of the spider, where I'm going to call it the dancing spider, and it's going to be a kiddie ride. Double check chat real quick. Zombie hold my femur. It could have been zombie pull my finger. Whack a zombie, that's a good idea. I need more shop ideas. I'm getting to the back coaster. I do want to do a back coaster. I mean, why not, right? Let's see. Items for the back coaster. Right there. There's my bat wings. So you can put those on the side of a car. That it's going to be a suspended coaster. And you'd be flying basically either over the haunted palace or around it, but I'm thinking over would be good, because then I could use some of the towers and stuff to build the supports off of, so I don't have to use as many building blocks and item count, because having to build supports that are coming from the outside of the palace might take a lot, especially if I go too far out, because then I'll have to build supports coming off of the wall or supports coming from the bottom, which would be ridiculous for item count. But building the supports from the tower wouldn't use as much, so I think that would be the best thing for the bat coaster. And it makes sense because there's bats that fly around it and there's ghosts that are flying around, so that would tie in with it. Free theming, right? So that's the bat coaster. There is going to be a fun house that's going to have House of Mirrors and a spiky bounce room, that kind of thing, which I'm thinking I'll build on the other side of the bridge over there. There is going to be a fortune teller, which will be in the gypsy camp that I'm going to have right here. So I'm going to have a little gypsy camp here with a fortune teller. let's see, where am I? Okay, bouncy house is covered. Fortune teller's covered. Bloody Mary bar's covered. Dancing spider's covered. The swing. The Neriak tunnelers. The haunted palace. Slither. The pumpkin hayride. The hanging bat flyers. The other one that is left is a coffin coaster. I mean, you gotta have coffins, right? Everyone has to ride in a coffin. And I'm debating on whether you actually sit down in the coffin or if you have to lay down in the coffin. If you sit, I could fit more than one house actor in the coffin. But if you have to lay down, then it's only one per coffin. And I'm thinking that it's going to be very crematorium type thing, where the coffin is going through lots and lots of flames and stuff like that. So that's my plans for that one. I haven't put as much thought into that one. I just wanted to get that idea out there. As far as shops, let me check the chat real quick. Oh, there's going to be some creepy moments in here. Don't worry about that. There's going to be a lot of creepy moments. So I want to make sure that whenever I start building on this, that it's close to the Nights of the Dead. That way, if there's anything new around Nights of the Dead, I can bring that in to finish off the last little details and such. The Six Flags over in Norrath proper, the main build, the main house, that is I'm actually going to show on the next decorate. So there's going to be that's going to be on the next decorate. It'll be posted before then, and I'm going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony. Literal ribbon cutting ceremony. I'm going to use ribbons spliced together and use the layout editor to actually make it appear that I'm cutting the ribbons, and the ribbons are slowly falling to the ground using different saves on the layout editor. So I'll load one where the ribbon's together, then cut it, the ribbon starts to fall, and I load that scene. Then it's falling again, I load that scene, it's falling again, I load that one, and then they're laying on the ground and I load up that one. So in a video or something like that, it would look like it's actually being cut and falling to the ground. So that's my plan theoretically. Don't know how well it'll work, but I think it should work. So for shops, I'm thinking outside the main attraction here. I've got the space over here that I can build some shops. So I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 on each side. And I might have one shop at the beginning, maybe here, that is going to be the big shop. And the reason why I say big shop is because it's going to be a mask shop. So you can buy your souvenir mask. And there's a lot of masks in the game. That's another reason why I want to make sure that this is published around Nights of the Dead after it's actually in game, because if they add more masks to the game, then I can add those to the shop before I actually publish this portion of the park. But I've got all the masks from Nights of the Dead so far on one of my tunes, my Taylor. So, and I believe it's like, I believe I have like 20 something masks. Some of them are from Nights of the Dead, some of them are from dungeons and stuff like that you can get, like certain kind of helms and hats and stuff like that. But it's not going to be like the hat shop. I want it to be more like a mask, like the pumpkin heads and the werewolf heads and the hatchet mask and those kind of things, the arrow mask. All of those are going to be in here, so it's going to have to be a pretty big shop. So it's going to be quite the rectangle. And that one will go there. And down here is where I'm thinking I will put either 2 or 3 on each side, and I'm still trying to come up with ideas for shops. So if anyone has any ideas of shops, let me know. You can let me know in the comments on my videos, or if you catch the live stream, you could give me an idea of a different shop that I could do. I might do an arcade, but I think that's going to be one of the last things, because I don't have to do an arcade. It would be an extra. So I would rather use theming for the haunted palace and the go-kart and stuff like that over building an arcade. So but yeah, I want to have something zombie themed, mummies, snakes, spiders, rats, ghosts. Let's see. I could do, I wanted to do a voodoo area. So if I did a voodoo area, let's see, where are they? I'm trying to think where I put them. They're over here somewhere. I just started coming up with all kinds of stuff and grabbing this and that, raided my dungeons. We've got these tikis right here. That would go good with the voodoo area. This cookpot is going to go to the gypsy area. Mushroom area I think is going to be out with the hayride. I'm not seeing where I put some of my items down. Oh yeah, there's my little marker and my voodoo doll, or zombie mystic doll. I've got the voodoo dolls and stuff too, so I'm going to bring those in. But those would be good for a voodoo type area. There's my little scarecrow back there, and some pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns, that kind of thing. And the prisoners. And this is going to be my sign for the Bloody Mary bar. Oh, that's right. Let me write this down before I forget again. Okay, it is written down. I wanted, this is what triggered my mind. I wanted to have a butcher shop as one of the shops. So you could buy your meats, so to speak, and it would be kind of a gruesome butcher shop. So that was one of the shops I wanted to do. So far I've got a mask shop and a butcher shop. I mean, I could do something like candied spiders, something like that, but I'm not sure. So if you have any ideas on shops, let me know. Okay, so let's see, what should we do first? Oh yeah, this right here, I am planning a small kiddie coaster, which is going to be a dragon coaster, and that's going to be the front of the dragon car. So that is one of the things I was wanting to do. And I've got little eggs around for dragon eggs and spider eggs and snake eggs and all that kind of stuff. This could go in the butcher shop, or it could go in the the haunted palace. And I don't think you can actually go through this. Let's see. No, you can't. You can actually go through this. I didn't realize that, so I could technically hide the top parts and use this as, put a bunch of them together, because I've got a ton of them, but put a bunch of these together and create a corridor with it. That would be cool. And I've got the bookcases already that I pulled out of the original house that has this same design on it. So that could go together to create a path. Maybe something like that. Getting started on a new build is always the hardest for me. Trying to decide what I want to do next and first and all that. But I am thinking I might start on one of the shops. That's going to be the easiest thing to start with, I think. And first off, I need to get my initial saves. Did I already start one? I thought I started one. Maybe not. These are all the houses that I'm currently working on. Let's do it here. And this is just a formality to set it up. And Neriak 3 and Neriak 3. Okay, so this is my load. Where is my house icon? There it is. Okay, so these I want to change because I saw one. That one. Yeah. Give it the spooky one. Okay, so save it, save it, save it. Now open up my layout editor, file, new from difference, and pull up, where is Neriak? There we are, Neriak 1. Neriak 2, and Neriak 3. There we go. So now I've got my original files set up, my save files, and I've got everything that's already in here saved. So I have it to work with. And let's see, I want to do let's pick you guys up. What does the bottom? No, I want to use that one. That one was from a plundered and it has the person on it, so I want to use that. Trying to figure out what I want to use. This is the toughest part. And I think it's gonna be you. Okay, so one of my main rules is that whenever I put something down, I don't rotate it. Oops. So now it's easier to work with the layout editor. So once I get it built, then I can rotate it, or if I do decide to rotate it, I'll rotate it 45 degrees. So let's do that. Let's see, rotate 45 and apply and save. Not the way I want to go. So let's do negative 45. There we go. That's better. So then I can have another one over here. And depending on how big this one's going to be. Is it sticking through? Oh no, it's not sticking through. Depending on how big this is going to be, I might use 2 of those tables. Okay, let's put you down and you down. And we'll rotate you guys 45. Save. And we are going to do negative 45 on both of those. I need to get it in the center of this one. So let's do this and this. Might as well do that one too. Okay, so the table is what I'm going to take the center from, and I'm going to copy it all to the others. And then one of these, I'm going to rotate it 180. Let's see, and if I pitch 60 on these, what does it look like? Let's move them up as well. Let's do 2 up. Okay, 60 is not what I'm looking for. It's negative 60. So let's try negative 60. Okay. And up 2 more. And let's go. Let's see. I am facing southeast. Let's go to southeast on that one. See if that's the right one. It is. To northwest. Actually, let's do 4 total. Not quite. So southeast 2 more, northwest 2 more. Is that correct? Yep. how does it look around the back? It does need to come forward a bit, I think. Yeah, let's move them. See, we're facing southwest, so we need to move northeast 1. And then let's change the scale to 2.5. And let's move up 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, up. Okay, now let's save that while we're running back here. And let's grab a table, move it. Run, little Othmere, run. And move that one. Okay, so copy the larger one to the smaller one. And then we need to move the smaller one, which would be northeast. Not far enough. And it needs to go back to where it's overlapping a little bit. Southwest 0.2. Let's try that. That's too far. .05. Northeast. Not quite. 05 is probably going to be too much, but let's see. Yep, too much. 03, southwest. It's just moving it back and forth until we get it just right where we want it. Actually, that might look better. Let's rotate you 180. There we go. This darker side is now together. It's got a little bit of a shimmer. So if we do 0.003 up, that should take care of the shimmer. There we go. So now I've got a roof and I've got a base. The roof, yep, it looks the same. So then I just have to put in my walls, which I can tweak the roof a little bit if I need to once I get the walls in. I just don't know what I want to use for the walls. Because I don't have everything I need in here. What do I have in my bags besides tons and tons and tons of stuff? There's teak, there's sandstone. This might work. it works, but it's not lined up, so I'll have to rotate it, make sure the rotation's good. And chat. Cayenne pepper candy. Is that cayenne or is that cayenne? Okay, I've got the spooky mask. Oh, bubbling brew. Bubbling witch's brew. Doll shop. Well, I'd already thought of doing, I forgot to write it down, but like the spiders on a string and the bats on the string and stuff like that, but we only have those two items that are on strings, on chains, so to speak. So I could do that and the doll shop as one, like a little puppet shop. Yeah, I have the cotton candy stall in Kinos. The spider floss is a good idea though. Oh my god, how come I didn't think of this before? Bat wing crunchies from EQ1. I could do bat wing crunchies. Oh my god, why didn't I think of that? I know you don't remember that, Luna, but bat wing crunchies were a big thing in EQ1. Zombie coffee shop. Make your own coffin. Whack-a-mummy. Toffee making. I did not change the second setting, so I guess it stays on auto. Should it be set to Texas or should it be set to auto? So you just put in 1949, and for me, it's 1950. Well, I do tend on having a guillotine. Inside the house, the haunted palace, there's actually going to be a torture chamber. But I could check some of the items to see if some of the items get really small, like some of the torture chairs and stuff like that. See if any of those get really small. If so, that could be a little novelty shop. You know, a little miniature of the electric chair and that kind of thing. Oh, wow. So how's it getting to Kian faster than it's getting to Luna? That doesn't make sense. Luna and I are a lot closer than Kian and I are. Okay, so let's save. Let's move and save. Actually, let's grab the other one. Let's make sure this is at 45. And we will copy and paste. And we will move this one 6 to northwest. And that's not far enough. Let's change the scale of these to 3.5. How close are those? Those are really close. So I'm going to have to change the scale a little bit more. Let's do 3.3. That's too much. 3.4. And move them southwest. Oops. Okay, so 3.3 might have been okay. 3.3, 3.3. Yep, it's showing through on both sides now. Let's move these guys down some. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a little bit more maybe. Let's see. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Too far. Up 1, 2. Okay, that works. This needs to go in. But that opens up this. That's good. And I can fill in the back. Do I have a triangle? Peach stucco faceless is in house vault 3. Oop. 3. Now where did you put it? Up here I think. Yep. Okay, so now we need to move this one in. I'm sorry that there's a delay, guys. And eventually I will figure out how to set it up either with another monitor or let's see, either another monitor or using my phone to where I can see the chat at the same time as building. So I don't have to keep changing back up and forth. Sorry again, my messenger was turned way down so it wouldn't disturb people that were watching the stream. So it was pretty much muted so it wouldn't bother people, so I didn't even see that until I look back. Okay, that looks good on both sides there, other than the fact that it is floating on one side because the ground is not flat. I can see that's going to be an issue. So let's lower all of these down now that they're in place. One, two, three, four, five. Let's try that. It looks like it is still above the ground. So if I go 1, 2, that should be better. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this shop just yet. Other than the fact that I'm going to put these in. And I wonder if I can do a witch's broom shop. I could do the cauldron drinks. Zombie coffee sounds cool. Batwing crunchies, spider floss, doll shop. So yeah, I've got lots of different ones. Thanks, guys. It'd be cool to have a broom shop, a witch's broom shop. Okay, so I'm going to do 30 roll, scale 2.5. Let's see how that works. Let's see, let's make this 3.5. And we will raise it up 3. And one of these needs rotated, but I'm not sure which one. 180 rotate. Okay, that works. Okay, let's change the setting on this to the scale on this to 3. Okay, I'm going to shrink this one down for now, because once I get one in place, then I can rotate, copy it and rotate it and move it over to the other one. This one needs to be a little bigger to fill up that space. And go up a bit to show a little bit of the beams. Okay, it's from edge to edge. Now it needs to go in some. So let's move this one in, which is southeast. So we'll go 0.5 southeast. And I'll need to go back up again. Okay, that's not far enough. 0.5 southeast again. Okay, that works. Those are a little off center. So why don't I move this one to the southwest? And we'll do 0.02 southwest. It's gonna need to go more than that. 1, 2, 3. A little too far. Northeast. That's close. And it's too far that way, so now we can go smaller. Smaller increments. So I need to go southwest. I think that looks good. Any closer and it's gonna shimmer. So I think that's okay. Actually, it's already shimmering. Let's come back. 0.01. Two, three. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's do this one. $134. Nope, wrong way. 136. There we go. That looks better. Okay, so now we need to take this and copy this one. Not that. Okay, so save. And we'll move this one and this one. Copy the larger one to there. And we will rotate it 180. Not roll. Rotate and move 5 southeast. Okay, so southeast was too far. It's putting it out there. Or 5 was too far, so let's move it 1 to northwest. Gonna have to go some more. So let's start doing point ones. Northwest couple. Okay, I'm just now reading it's 2018 when you read 1949. Yep, and it's 219 for me. So for me,